Good morning, everybody. This is Miss Mokano, and I wanted to walk you guys through a lab that we did just before the winter break in class. In case you missed the class or in case you need a little bit of review to complete the lab, I want to walk you through it. Okay, so this is under Unit 4. You can find it on our Canvas page. And if you go on our Canvas page under modules, it should come right up under Unit 4. It's called Predicting Density Lab. So you can find it down here. It's under Thursday, 12/23, December 23, Predicting Density Lab. Okay, so if you open that, it will bring you to the lab document, which is right here. Again, if you have it as a hard copy from class, great, use that. And if you don't have it, then go ahead and use this electronic version. You can complete it either way. This is a summative project, summative lab. It's worth 10 points, about as much as a quiz. So it is worth quite a bit towards your final grade. And I want to walk you through it and give you some hints as to how to complete it. So the whole point of this lab is that we're going to be using what we know about the position of an element on the periodic table in order to predict its density. So using ptable.com or your own periodic table that you may have as a hard copy, basically what we're doing in this lab is we're using a few elements in period 4 over here. We're going to be using silicon, which is right here. We're going to be using tin, which is right here. And we're going to be using lead, which is right here. And we're going to measure and calculate the density of these three elements. And based on their density and their atomic number, we're going to see if those two variables correlate. So we're basically going to try to see if there's a correlation between the atomic number, which, as you remember, is right here at the top for all elements. So between the atomic number of these three elements, silicon, tin, and lead, and their density. Once we see if we can establish a correlation, we're going to use that correlation in order to predict the density of germanium, germanium is right here, atomic number 32. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we're doing in this lab. And now I'm going to break it down for you in steps. So as you can see right here in the lab, I'm telling you how many points each question is worth for a total of 10 points for the entire lab, okay? So the first thing I want you guys to do is answer these pre-lab questions. These are basically review questions from stuff we did before, labs we did before, just to refresh our memories. So what is a hypothesis? What instruments do we use to measure mass? How do we measure volume? And so on. So go ahead and answer to the best of your ability these first 9 questions. Once you have answered those questions, go ahead and read the background, the purpose, and the materials of this lab. So as we discussed, the purpose is to determine the density of 3 elements and predict the density of a 4th. And for materials in this lab, what we used in class and what you should know how to use by this time is a triple beam balance. So a quick visual of what that looks like is right here. We have these in our classroom and you guys have all used them before, triple beam balance. The other instrument we would use for this lab is a graduated cylinder. So graduated cylinder looks like this. It is used to measure volume. So it looks something like this. And again, you have seen this in our classroom before. So that's a graduated cylinder. And then I would give you samples, 3 samples of silicon, tin, and lead. These are little samples that you would use to perform this lab. If you're at home, obviously you don't have these samples, you can still do the lab without them because I'm going to give you all the information you need in this video. All right. So going further, I would like you to write a hypothesis. If you don't remember what a hypothesis is, please research that in the materials we have for this class, or research it in your textbook or online. And come up with a hypothesis that predicts how density of these three elements varies with atomic number. Once you fill in your hypothesis right here, okay, you're going to read this procedure. So these are basically the steps that we did in class, or you would do for this lab. So finding the mass of the three samples. So using this, using right here the triple beam balance, we would measure the mass of the samples. And I know that if you were not in class, you can't do this at home. So what I'm going to do is actually give you the information that you need. Step number 2 and 3 and 4 are actually asking you to perform some volume measurements using the graduated cylinder. It's asking you to basically measure the volume of the samples. And finally, in step 6, it's asking you to calculate density. So let's see where you would put that information. So there's a table right here. This is worth 3 points. If you were in class and you're able to do the lab in class, then you should already have this information filled in. If you were absent from class, then I'm going to give you the measurements that I made, and you can proceed from here. So for silicon, basically the mass of the sample that I measure was 7 grams. So I'm going to put 7 under mass. For tin, the mass was 6 grams for this little sample that we had. And for lead, the mass was 17 grams. So go ahead and feel free to use these numbers. For volume, the starting volume of water, so basically what we did, we took our graduated cylinder and filled it with water up to a certain point. And let's see, the volume of water that I started with was 50 for all of them. So 50 milliliters for all of them. After filling the graduated cylinder with water, we dropped in the sample. And we saw, as we dropped in the sample in the water, obviously the volume of water actually went up. And we recorded how much it went to. So for silicon, the volume of water went to 54.4. For tin, it went to 51. And for lead, it went to 51.5. So this is really all of the raw data that you need in order to fill in the rest of the lab. As of right now, because I gave you these numbers, you guys should be able to complete the rest of your lab by yourself. So let's go through it a little bit. Volume of the sample. So if I know that I started with a volume of 50 milliliters in my graduated cylinder, so I started with a volume of 50 milliliters. Let's see. So this is not really a good example of this graduated cylinder is a little bit big. Let's see if I can find another one that shows a little bit more what we had in class. So let's see if this one would be a little bit better. I just want to give you a little bit of a... All right, so here's a little bit better one. So basically in class, let's talk about that first sample that we had of silicon, right? We filled the graduated cylinder up to 50 with water. Then we took our sample of silicon, which really looked like a little rock. Let me show you what that looked like. So silicon, let's see if I can find it. It looked like this, like a tiny little rock like this, shiny, okay? So after filling that graduated cylinder with 50 milliliters of water, we dropped that silicon in the water, and the water basically went up from 50 to 54.4. All right, which is what this table is telling you right here. So the volume of the sample, in this case, I know that it's going to be the difference of those two volumes. So 54.4 minus 50 is going to be just 4.4 is the volume of my sample. Now, as far as the density of my sample, to calculate the density of the sample, remember that density is equal to mass divided by volume. This is something that we studied before. So in this case, the mass of my sample is 7 grams divided by the volume of my sample, which we just said right here was 4.4 milliliters. So if I do that division, 7 divided by 4.4, I'm going to get a density of 1.6 gram per milliliter. So that's how you would fill in this table. I did the first row for you guys for silicon. Go ahead and complete the tin and the lead on your own. Then you can move on to the analysis part. So for the analysis part, once you have calculated the densities right here in this column, go ahead and just list them in order of increasing density. Complete this table. Again, the densities that we just calculated, put them in this table. So you're basically just taking them from this column right here where you calculated them and putting them in this column below. Make sure you fill in the atomic number. How do you find the atomic number? Again, you should all by now be able to figure out the atomic number of any element using the periodic table, ptable.com. Go ahead and fill in that information under atomic number. For question number 9, you're going to use Google Sheets to make a graph. And the graph I'm asking you to make is density versus atomic number. So you're basically going to have something like this. Here's my Google Sheet. I'm going to show you what I have. But so atomic number, I made myself a little table right here of atomic number for my elements. Made myself a little table with my density that I calculated right in this part of the lab. Okay. Once I have this information in my table, I'm going to go highlight my information. I'm going to go insert chart and make myself a chart like this. Because I'm trying to establish a correlation between variables, the best type of chart and the most appropriate type of chart I should make is a scatter chart, a scatter plot, which is what I made here. And I put a trend line through it. Okay, so make sure you do that. Make sure your graph has a good title. Make sure it has labels. Make sure it has units. So that is what you're being asked for, to find out if there's a correlation in number 9. And you're going to put that chart right in here. In number 10 now, you're going to use your graph that you just made to estimate the density of germanium based on its atomic number. So what does that mean? Well, germanium, if you look at it right here on the periodic table, its atomic number is, let me highlight it, is 32. So if I go back to my graph and I look up on my graph atomic number 32, well, atomic number 30 is right about here, so 32 is maybe right around here. What density would I predict for germanium? Well, if I go up until I hit my trend line, the density I would predict would be around 4 based on my data. I would predict a density of 4 for germanium. I'm going to put that right here under estimated density. Question number 11 asking how does this value compare to the accepted value? Is it higher? Is it lower? The accepted value for germanium is 5.3, and I just predicted 4, so my value would be lower. And in number 12, it's actually asking you to use this formula using your estimated value. In my case, it was 4, and using the accepted value of 5.3 for germanium, it's asking you to calculate a percent error. So how far off is your answer compared to the accepted value of density? Finally, number 13, it's asking you basically to do the same thing you just did. Instead of using atomic number, it's asking you to use period, the period on the periodic table. So silicon is period 3, tin, period 5, and so on. So instead of plotting atomic number and density, go ahead and plot period and density. And basically do the exact same thing you just did before.